Yes, you see the lineup of all the glorious shows we have on the network, including this one right here. Real Talk Pundits Pundit. We are here, baby. It is I, Denzel Snipes, aka the new but not really new recruit. Now I'm here with Jacob Christner, and this is the Pundits Pundit. How's it going, man?
Not bad, not bad. I take one look. I was just telling Rude Dog the other night. I took one look at Rude Dog, and I'm thinking he's filching DDP Yoga's their logo.
Yeah.
he filched their logo. Let's just make sure not to tell DDP.
Yeah, exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have a jam-packed show. Some really deep topics coming up here. So let's get started. And Jacob, why don't you kick off? We have the necessary end of the Chicago Bears tradition. Now, this is from our resident Chicago Bears fan and probably the biggest critic of them and the fan base that I know. So,
almost more of the fan base than them, and that's saying something.
Help us, shed some light on this, man. What's going on?
Well, we've been hearing about the team. We've been hearing about that they're going to leave Chicago. Mm-hmm. That they're going to go to Arlington Park. We've been hearing this for about 6 months now, which I was saying before the 6 months, I want them to get a new stadium. I've been saying this, you've been hearing that. I want them to get one. It's like the biggest thing about it is the fact, the reason I say this is a necessary end of the Chicago Bears tradition is because just think about this. Dallas Cowboys have tradition. They've had their tradition. They went all the way. You know what they did with their tradition? They sent Jerry Jones onto a golf course to fire the deity, Tom Landry. They did it to that. That's what they did. They sent it to that. They've had that tradition. Cleveland Browns are about to get themselves. They're going to get themselves a new stadium, and even then, they had theirs in '99. You understand? Right. You have all this. Pittsburgh. They have plenty of tradition, and then they just got 18 years with Ben Roethlisberger.
Yes, but they did.
Look what they did. They've got a draft pick and a probably near journeyman quarterback. That's showing that they're going to be an all-run team, even though they've got the same coach.
Now, if you think about it, before Todd Haley got there as a physical coordinator, what were the Pittsburgh Steelers even when Roethlisberger were there? They were a primary run team. Right. As far as offense, they're a primary run team.
Yeah. It was, but it's like they had a Roethlisberger. But it's what I was talking about, and you've had that. But the biggest thing about it is you had defense, and now they worry about their defense a little bit. But even though they've got good one with, but it's like with Tomlin, one of the greatest coaches there is. Mm-hmm. You've got all this stuff, but guess what? But then you got everybody's trying to think. Their stadiums, everybody's stadiums are going up. The offenses are going up. Look when you watch an Arizona versus Dallas game, for instance. Look how awesome it is each and every single week. Right. When you get an Arizona-Dallas game, you might get 42-38. Or you might get 50-48 sometimes. A Marina game. They're getting there. What do the Bears constantly do? Last three quarterbacks, they have a gunslinger like Jay Cutler. Mm-hmm. What happens with that? As much as I can't stand Jay Cutler, they choose Trestman over who? They choose Trestman over who? The Arians.
Oh, Bruce Arians, that's right.
Yeah, they chose it over that because Jay Cutler didn't want the guy yelling at him.
Cutler, I've always said, was a prime example of $1 million arm but a 10-cent brain.
Yep. Then you get Mitchell Trubisky, who's not a star, but he was like that until Justin Fields. He was their best runner since the 70s. Mm-hmm. And you have that, and here's another thing. You have a guy each and every week on that Sunday when he came out there, he was probably one of the slickest dressing, cleanest dressing people in the league. Zero press about that. Zero promotion about it. One of the cleanest dressers in the league. I wish we had a picture. One of the cleanest, and you see zero. But remember, Cam got a ton for his own version.
Yeah.
People get other teams. Other teams gave their quarterback a ton. There's none for that, regardless of anything, and we already know what happens. But I'm not talking about that part. Then you've got now I'm just saying this. You've got, and then you had a guy where you had the offense, so you could run a run thing offense with a mobile quarterback. Still 15, 17 points a game. Still. The only way the offense was run was through Mitch, and that was only halfway. Still the same. Now, Justin Fields. Mitchell Trubisky did not have swag, even with the beautiful dress. Justin Fields has swag. Where's the promotion in that? Where's the promotion in his swag? I'm talking about for the Bears.
Right, that is true. And considering that, is it fair to say that, whether easily or slightly, that Justin Fields overall is the more talented quarterback than Mitchell Trubisky?
Oh, by far. Yeah. I'm not. There's no question about it. What I was saying is put Justin Fields in Atlanta with that swag. I live in Atlanta on the south side now, by the way. Put him there. There would be electronic billboards all over the dang airport.
Of course. But you know something? Maybe that's not Chicago's style.
And that's where we're talking about the necessary end of the
yes. Well, but here's the thing. Let me ask you a question, because you're from around there. You're from Illinois.
Yeah.
Has Chicago never really been like that, except for the 4 years that we talked about, 84 to 88? They never really. Chicago, think about the history of Chicago, okay? You know, like with the Roaring 20s and you know, the mob history and everything. Chicago, and then the cold weather, everything. Chicago has always been a rough and rugged city.
Yes, it has. But
you know, so it's not a flashy city. You know what I mean? And the Bears could get away with what they did because, well, number one, it introduced something new and it was cool. And then on top of that, they won a Super Bowl. Of course, when your team wins a Super Bowl, you're going to start kind of doing what they do. You know, like even out there in New England, Pats fans are chanting "No days off" and adopting the Patriot way. That's the team. You know. Bears have always been defensive rich throughout its history. The 85 Bears has been revered as a top 3 for the longest time, you know.
And in truth, and I love them. I love the 85 Bears. That was not and I will say this forever, that was not a sustainable defense. Not a sustainable defense. Not even with Buddy Ryan. Not sustainable.
But it worked for 1 year.
1 year. 2 years, 84.
2, really, yeah.
Yeah, 84. They were not sustainable because because that whole thing took absolute no injuries, perfect timing on everything. That means when everybody is running toward the quarterback, it means you have no creases. It means you have Leslie Frazier back at the time. You've got all those places. He got injured in the Super Bowl, ended his career. You've got all those. But when you replace the Leslie Frazier with what? Let's see. I'm trying to think for a second. Who they replace him with? Dave Duerson. When you replace him with that, Dave Duerson was nice, but he wasn't the same. And it's like, and then all of a sudden they gave up plays that they never gave up in those 2 years. And Dicka's defense, Dick was running it, not Tobin. Dicka's defense was more of I'd say it was a wolf pack with Ryan's. The Dicka's was more of a what's a good word for it? Assassins. You know, like with one assassin from the one building, one assassin from the other, you know, sharpshooters. Right. It's like he didn't send everybody at all times. You know, which helps keep the defense going. It helps for more turnovers also.
I mean, and, you know, bear in mind that for the 85 Bears, that entire playoff run, their defense only gave up 10 points. And the 10 points was in the Super Bowl. Back to back, they shut out the Giants. And mind you, the Giants of the 80s were no punk, no slob. They shut them out. Then they shut out the Rams the next week in the conference championship, and then they played the Pats and beat them where they gave up 10 points. You know?
Well, and you know something, though, but this is the thing, though. That was the era of tough. And you had the West Coast. You had the West Coast style, flash, everything. Like you have San Francisco. You had the Showtime Lakers. You had the West Coast flash. That's why Larry and Magic made it. Because you have the tough guy who fought in bars versus the flashy, let's go to parties.
Yeah.
And And you had that, and that's like, but guess what? Every single place in this United States now, every single place is working on being Flash. It's working
It
on
is.
it. Every single these farm towns are going to start merging, are starting to merge together so they can be bigger, so they can have a vote.
Right.
As time, especially if an electoral college ends one day, they're going to be doing this. The smallest areas, I mean, everything is looking to be bigger and more diverse and more everything. This isn't a time where we're facing tough and rugged versus Showtime. Showtime won.
Yeah.
Yep, that's true, David.
Absolutely, yeah. And you know, it's crazy that you mentioned like these cities and all because, and you being from around there, you would
Quincy,
know,
Illinois. Yeah.
Quincy, yeah, and it's right outside Chicago.
6 hours. 6 hours.
But 6 hours. Oh, okay, never mind. But but like with cities like Chicago, Boston, they traditionally are blue chip cities. They're not flashy. They're rough and rugged.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're straight to your face. So their sports teams are like that. The sports teams are going to reflect it. And you talk about the flash of Atlanta, right? Now go and look at the '90s Atlanta Falcons.
91.
And what were they? They were a flashy squad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You talk about the Los Angeles Lakers of the '80s. They were a flashy squad. That's a flashy city. The team is always going to reflect the city, no matter where you go.
I said this about Atlanta. I said he's going to get 1 year. I said Matt Ryan's going to get 1 year, and he'll be gone. And then no one believed me, and guess what? He's gone. And it's because he did not fit the offense. He did not fit that offense that Arthur Smith wants. I was hoping for Justin Fields. As much as, okay, it's great for Chicago, but I was hoping for him for Atlanta. Because Atlanta would promote him. Yeah. Atlanta would promote that guy, and then he'd have an offense that would work with him. See, that's the thing, though. There is no, like I said, Showtime won. The workmanship died with Larry Bird, being truthful. It just kept building toward. I'm talking about the working heroes. Maybe Tebow was it. He lasted 1 year. Yeah. He lasted 1 year. Tebow was the last of the thing. It's like you want to know the last Chicago Cub I saw that was a working stiff, and he lasted 1 year. Jeremy Burnetz.
Okay, he sounds
familiar. He was the guy who hustled up the line, no matter if it was a shortstop, hit to the shortstop. That's working. I really believe the working man stiff died with Bird, little by little by little, and it chunked it away. Showtime has been all Showtime in some certain way from that. Look at how many teams. I mean, remember how Cleveland won their playoff game against Pittsburgh? Offense, slick offense. Cleveland is supposed to be the tough city.
Yes. They forced a lot of turnovers that game too.
See, but this is the thing also. I brought up Pittsburgh. We brought up the defense and how they work on defense and everything. This is what I bring up with Pittsburgh. They're 18-2 in the last 20 games, 6 points and under. That's called Tomlin being an awesome coach. That is defense, mind you, at 16-13 games. But you want to know when that worked? Like 1991 with Ditka.
True.
Yeah, it's like you could get there. Remember what happened when they got themselves to the playoffs doing that same thing? Murdered.
Yeah, true.
Murdered. It's like, and I'm saying I don't think Trubisky or Pickett are it as far as what. So you got to get yourself a run game. I don't think they're it as far as a throwing game, but I think that you get yourself a run game and you soar. And okay, 250 points, 250 yards a game. They'll do that.
That'll do it.
That's 4,000 yards. That's your 4,000 yards.
Even still, if you could just get because let's face it, Najee Harris is the next big thing, but you can't. And even though it seems that way right now, the offense is pretty much going to run through him.
I know. I've been saying that. That's what I was saying. I was glad that's
he's
what
your workhorse.
I was glad Mitch went there because he's going to help Najee because he's mobile. It's like Najee got 1,200 yards instead of 1,700 because he had a cadaver quarterback the last 2 or 3. You know what I mean? That's last year. He had a cadaver there. It's like now he's got a mobile quarterback, whether it's Pickett or Trubisky.
Yeah, true.
But you're right on the run game. But I'm talking about it. Even the run game now. You got to remember Derrick Henry. They call him the modern day Earl Campbell.
Yes.
He still runs people over, but guess what? He's a lot faster and a lot more of an athlete than Earl Campbell.
Yes, he is.
And it's like, this is slick world. This is, guess what? Showtime won. It
Mm-hmm.
did, because it did win, because every little city that does not make it, every little
Mm-hmm.
city that tries to be the same dies. It dies. It's like I said, Cleveland's one playoff win was all passing, all slick. The Bears, the necessary end of the Chicago Bears tradition, they're going to have to get that new. They're going to have to get that new dome. They're going to have to get a slick thing, and this is why I say Justin Fields has to have the season of his life, because when you're going after a new, and they're going to have themselves a new ownership eventually. Get yourself a new ownership, and I can see Byron. I can see Byron Allen. You know, the Byron Allen is the guy from he's the media guy.
Okay.
He's the media guy. He's Byron. You saw Byron Allen. He would be that guy that doing those entertainment shows on the weekends.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
Byron
him.
Allen. He's a billionaire.
Oh shoot, yeah, he
He
could
he
definitely
owns
he could
he owns
definitely
half the big media conglomerates. It's like I said, he could own the Chicago Bears. I could see that. You know, he'd be the first black owner.
and
I could see
he
that.
and is he you think he would go kind of fall in line and go to more that flashy tradition?
No, flashy's not the tradition. I don't think he falls in line. I think he makes a brand spanking new tradition. I think he
Hmm.
makes a brand spanking new one. With you bring that dome in, and there is no more monsters of the Midway. There is no more. You know, it's like let's see, but the team leaders and oh yeah, Sid Luckman and Harlan Hill, yeah.
If you really
It's
sit
like
back and if you really think about it, the only near elite quarterback the Bears really had in their history was Sid Luckman. They are the only franchise that has yet to yield a 4,000 yard passer.
I know, and it's like, but that's where I want to see this. I want to see him get 4,000 like crazy. I mean, because I admit this, I grew up with the tough guy dad, the whole thing, old school.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one thing about my dad that a lot of people for his age, and he was older. He saw forward. He looked forward. He always was reading up on the newest thing. So if nothing else, he'd be like, we'd probably be watching he wouldn't be complaining about no Soldier Field anymore, even though we went to one game. He wouldn't be
Yeah,
doing that, and it's like he'd be like, well, that is what it is. Things change.
true.
And
I mean,
go ahead.
it's nuts how because I remember back what was it 2001? When did they renovate Soldier Field? Was it 01?
2002, 2001 is when they lost that playoff game to Philly.
Gotcha. Okay, then yeah, that was the 13-3 squad, and I
Yep.
think y'all's quarterback was Jim Miller.
Jim Miller, and then Jim Miller got hurt, and it was Shane Matthews.
Shane Matthews.
Shane
That
Matthews.
team went 13-3, people. Because that was
Yeah,
because that was the year that defense. Mike Brown went haywire. He had like back-to-back game-winning pick sixes.
I know. I was see, and it's like, but you know something though. Even then, things were changing in offense, because we got to remember that is a 13-3 team. They won their last like seven in a row.
Yeah,
They won their last like seven in a row. They won everything, and then they got absolutely stomped at Soldier Field. Absolutely stomped, 33-19. It wasn't even that close to truthful. And it was like, and and see, here's the thing about it. They call it bear weather. That's why I want to see a dome, because that bears weather, it is the most overrated thing in life.
mm.
It is the most overrated thing. The Bears are maybe 500 in bears weather. And it's like, players in truth don't ever want to play in it. They just know if it's like a Los Angeles team and it's blah blah blah. They have a shot, maybe like New Orleans, and it's in a dome, maybe. But in the end, if you're losing, the Bears team, the Bears weather affects the Bears.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's just really funny how like it's kind of that wild card because if you're winning, you don't mind it. If you're losing, it's like, oh, we're just getting stomped in miserable weather.
See, I grew up with me being this. I grew up 38 years as a Bears fan. You know, I've grown up this, and it's like, and I've seen every single one. It's like every Sunday. My first years, I didn't see the Bears lose two in a row for the first 3 years.
Nice,
It was
yeah,
fun.
nice.
That's fun when you're a
Mhm.
kid, and then they just kept losing for many years. I saw them lose 3 total games to the Packers in 10 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
it was
back when the pack was average.
yeah, and it's like I saw that, and it's like, oh, they don't ever lose. It's like, yeah, I saw that, but you know something? 1991, that you got the Ditka. 92 is when he went. And to this day, you look in Soldier Field, it looks like the same team.
Yeah.
Their idea of the third jerseys, one from 1944, something, I think, or 36 or something.
Yeah.
Everybody else has 3 and 4 jerseys. The Bears Stadium, the Soldier Field, is the only one that still takes cash somewhere in certain areas. Everybody
That's
else
nuts.
is on card. Everything, their owner's 100 years old.
It's those fan about the weather.
It can,
yes,
David. It
absolutely.
can. You're right, David. But the problem is the Bears didn't. The Bears have not won every single game like they say. Everybody brings it up as and then when you're down 28-3, and it's not New England.
Right.
You know?
But okay, like, and again, using weather as an example, like you look at Foxborough, right? When they're winning, their fans are throwing snowballs, players are making snow angels, like the whole nine, Okay, now let me take you back some. Go back to the 2007 NFC Championship game. This was Saints at Bears.
Yeah.
Bears stomped them 39-14. What was the weather that day?
Of that. Yeah. See, they did see that Bears team was wonderful. That Bears team was wonderful. How defense was. There's no question about it.
You know what? I will say this much before you continue. And as much as people, because the Saints went 10-6, they had a magical comeback season and everything, and there's fans really hoping that they're going to go to the Super Bowl. But when I saw they was playing the Bears, I said they're not beating Chicago. It's going to end
here's
right
the thing. Say
they ain't going to beat Chicago.
Saints would have slapped.
Hey, you froze. You still there? Oh, looks like he's frozen. He froze. I'm trying to take him off real fast. Okay, let me try to take them. We're gonna take a small little break, guys, because my partner seems to have frozen. So I will just run this reminder of the shows that we have on Sideline Sports. Okay, it looks like my partner's having a little bit of technical difficulties. He will be right back in 1 minute. But I would like to take the time to remind you all of where to find us. Please tune in via Sideline Sports on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter at Sideline Sports 1. And then also, if you'll pay attention to the ticker that I'm about to put up, it is you can download the Score No Score app. So we are sponsored by Score No Score via Google Play and the Apple App Store. What it is basically, as my partner Dom would say, is it is gambling for dummies. So what it is you don't bet on games, you actually bet on plays. And they give you a set amount of coins in the beginning. You can also purchase more coins. And as of right now, they have football and baseball. So baseball's going on right now. You can go ahead and download it. And and basically, you can bet on, okay, is Altuve going to hit another home run? Is Judge about to RBI? Is Justin Turner about to steal his base? Whichever. But it's a really great app. You have a lot of fun. And once again, it is in the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. And it looks like my partner's back. So let's bring on back in. All right. Oh, it seems to have frozen again. Hey, can you hear me? Okay, he'll come right back. Let me see his comment real fast. I'm gonna talk Buffalo football. I'm more than happy to come on with you all. Awesome. Hey, you know what? We may actually, and actually, I'm gonna go ahead and write that down as a reminder. Would love to get your thoughts about the '90s Bills run for 4 straight Super Bowls. Sorry, not to torture you or anything like that, but I like hearing from fans' perspective. So on a future show, man, we're happy to have you on, man. All right, let's see if he's working now. Hey, you working now?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, kind of choppy.
Hello?
Okay, I can hear you.
Hold on. Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, am I in? There I'm in.
Yeah,
There I
you.
am. There I am.
All right.
Sorry about that. We had a freeze up over here.
Okay, was it the weather or something?
We had a brownout here for something real quickly. I don't know what happened.
Oh, okay then. Okay, well, let's continue on, and we're gonna talk about
Are
flag
you all right?
football. Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm good over here. At first I thought it was me, but it was you. But yeah, just moving on to the next topic. We're
Dude,
gonna
you sound like a robot.
yeah, it might be your. I wonder if it's your signal. That's crazy. We were just fine, just like a minute
You
ago.
sound like a robot.
Okay, yeah, and yours is coming in pretty choppy. Hold on a second. Yeah, it says you're still glitchy. Yeah, it's still glitchy. Hey, is there any way you could just tap
I
in
can
on your
hear
phone?
you.
Do you hear me now?
I am on.
Yeah, okay. Um. Oh, hold on a second. Okay. Um. Okay. Well, let me try. Okay. Yeah. Oh, my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. This has been that kind of day. I wonder if it's the heat affecting the grids. But our next topic, waiting until my partner comes back, is flag football in the Olympics. Um. Now, what do I think about this? One side of me actually is worried that. Oh, let's see here. Hey, you there?
I just shut off the Wi-Fi.
Okay, okay. Can you hear me now?
Off the Wi-Fi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you coming in choppy.
Hold on. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. I'm gonna try something here.
I can hear you clearer now.
All right. Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearer now.
Hello?
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, okay, sweet. Okay then. Um, so moving on to the next topic, flag football in the Olympics. Um, one side of me is actually for it. I think it would be pretty good, pretty cool. The only thing is where are you going to pull from as far as the Olympians? Are we going to get like is it going to be like kind of like that? You remember that national that about 2 years ago that National Flag Football League and there was like $1 million prize, and they had some like former players and whatnot. What I'm worried about, and I mean, I wouldn't mind it, but what I'm worried about is it going to be an overexposure of football? Considering that we've got the USFL.
Oh my God. But no, I'll tell you. No, I'll tell you though. It's crazy. It's like the thing I'm thinking about is like the dream team. We're gonna have
Mhm.
our players, but country? What other country does this? What other country plays football right now? Really? I mean, it'll be a domination.
Outside of Canada and Mexico's got a league.
I know. It's like every. I mean, can you imagine playing like Bangladesh and flag football?
Oh man, they're gonna get stomped by 50.
Oh, I know it's 60, and it's like. But here's another thing that makes me wonder about flag football. You know what that is?
What's that?
How much is the NFL trying to make the league that soft?
And
How much are they trying to make it flag football in the next 25 years? Because they've taken every rule possible
uh-huh.
to protect the quarterbacks, to protect everything. you got to wonder if this is trying to test something.
That, hmm, that, wow. That
Yeah.
he blew me away with that one. Um,
Yeah.
but but if that's the case, then why do you need to go through all of that? It's your league. Just do it. You know?
Because there would be no fans. There wouldn't be any fans right off the bat. You're getting the fans used to. And sorry about the thing. Go right next to the airport.
Oh no, that's fine. Actually,
Okay.
I can see you move around and you can talk clear too. But go ahead.
But no, it's like. But here's the thing I was talking about. What is? What do you do? What do you do in the what do you do with this? And it's like, why are they being? Why is the whole? Why is everybody soft? Why has it been softer? Why? Because why don't you just make it a flag football league now? It's because no one would show up. They're still used to tackle. They're
Of
still so
course.
used to it. But what if you show a new generation? There's so many people being born. What if you show them this?
Well, there's also the thing, and since we're talking Olympics here, in Taekwondo they don't hit each other. They have to show ability.
It's points. It's point.
Yeah,
Point. It's basically points. Yeah. Yeah.
but
It's point sparring.
so I mean, and think about it. That's in theory a combat sport. Self defense, and if you were in a real situation, you'd really hit someone, obviously. But with flag football, I mean, I guess it would be worth a try. It'd be worth a shot. You think the NFL might try to prosper from it somehow?
It, of course, they're going to. There'll be an NFL flag football league, but this is what my theory is over the years. Remember, my theories are always long term.
Mm-hmm.
But my theory is you couldn't make it flag football tomorrow. You couldn't do that. No one would show up. The world is used to tackle. But like when I was talking about with Chicago before we got zapped, we were talking about Chicago everything being flashy, everything not going for the pain, going for the flash and the style. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what if you show people through the Olympics what flag football is and how quote unquote exciting it could possibly be?
Mm.
Does the NFL get themselves involved and then they try to build it into that to a new generation that will be born watching that? This will be
Yeah,
their years.
yeah, that is true. And then also, I
So
could
why
see.
not?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I could see because as of right now, the number one sport in the world is association football, it's soccer. And then second to that
Yeah.
would probably be basketball and then baseball. Maybe this would be football or NFL's attempt at kicking it up the ladder some. You know what I mean?
See, football, they're trying to go to, remember, they've gone to London. They're trying to go to Mexico. They're trying to go to Germany. They're trying all kinds of different ways. See, here's the thing about the United States. We're the one country that talks about tough. As far as making it a promotional deal,
Right.
we we are we are the one country that does this. And I apologize. I am like 4 miles from the airport, so
Oh
I'm
no, no,
now
I can hear
getting
you.
the airplanes. But
Mhm.
we are the one country in the world that talks about being tough, and it being some kind of greatness. And I have no problem with it. I grew up with it, but now this world goes where we have. I mean, where we're trying to be a worldwide deal, where it's trying to be everybody. We're trying to be Europe. This country's trying to be Europe more and more.
Mm.
Notice that we're trying to get
Interesting.
soccer. We're trying to get soccer into this country. We're trying to make everything sleeker. We're trying to get more diverse, which a lot of other countries were diverse before the United States was.
Right.
They're trying
Long
to get
before.
that. It's this world now, huh?
I surely don't think anything that will work. USFL don't work. Arena don't work. SFL didn't work. Hmm?
Well, maybe not, but I'm talking about what if they try? What if
I
they
mean,
tried it? It's just like,
I
hmm?
mean, it's worth a shot. And as far as David's comment, well, the USFL did go a full season this year. I actually expect viewership to go up next year. And what I expect within the next 5 years is for the NFL to outright occupy either the USFL or the XFL and turn it back into the NFL Development League, much like the old NFL Europe. which they had a good thing going, and then they folded.
I could see Rock's XFL being a little more of a competition than I would the USFL, to be very honest, because The Rock is Hollywood. But
yeah,
I can see The Rock bringing bigger players in. But no, this is the thing. This is why I was bringing this up. You get the Suns just matched Aiton's offer.
Oh, he's staying. He's staying.
Yeah. But anyway, I was bringing this. How old are you, by the way? I was just curious.
I'll be 40 in September.
I'm 44 in August. Here's the thing. This generation is going to have millions and millions and millions and millions of kids that are going to be born, and millions of them watching and all that kind of stuff. They're going to be born around the time that new Olympics are going to be coming. The new, like flag football, for instance. Hypothetically, right. Troy Vincent gets this together. They're going to be born around that time. You want to know how old we are by the time they get successful? 65 to 69 years old.
Yeah.
Not our time anymore.
You figure if you look throughout history, a generation is roughly 20 years.
Yeah, but guess what? Not our time anymore. It'll be theirs. And it's like we're gonna be the old men saying, I remember when they played Hurt. We're doing that now.
Yeah. We're doing that right
now. But it's like, we're doing it now, and it's like it was back in our day, no teeth. But no, we're seeing we're going to be this way. It's going to get to that way, but it's like it's going to get so different. They're trying to build it where everything is bubble wrapped.
Right.
Everything is bubble. Do we like it? No. But we know something different. These kids don't know different.
No,
they don't know different. The NBA, watch NBA in the 90s, and then we forget to be rough. It was just more. It was less of a. It was a lot more tight offense. The offenses were tighter in. You had to be able to drive into the lane with 4 people showing up, and you had to be able to do that. And then you had to be able to try to get a wide open 3 instead of jack up 40 feet. But do I like the 40-foot threes? Not really. But when high schoolers are doing it in all-star games, you can't really bitch about it or you look old.
True. But at some point in time, it's like, the shots that Steph Curry does, we shot those playing horse. He does them like on a play-to-play basis. You know what I mean?
Well, we're about to see a 4-point. Here's the thing: we're about to see a 4-point. A 4-pointer. I think one of the All-Star games, like a women's All-Star games, will make a 4-point play.
Yeah,
I think they're going to make it. I think they're going to make it. Okay, airplane. No, I think they're going to make. I think like there's a women's All-Star game, so we're going to be making a 4-point play. We're going to see 4-pointers in the next 5-6 years.
I can see it. I can see them.
But that's another generation. Huh?
I can see them doing a 4-pointer.
Yeah, and it's like they're going to do a 4-point, but guess what? We're going to look old and say, "Oh, that's going to look horrible." But we can also remember the older generation that hated the 3-pointer.
Yeah.
And it's like, the thing is, the biggest thing that we've got to do is why I'm bringing up the Chicago Bears and they need to get out of tradition is we as older people need to act younger. Yeah. We need to think younger. We need to get younger because the younger's won. It's over. Done. There isn't the 65-year-olds in Wall Street anymore. It's 32-year-olds.
Right.
They retire at 45. There isn't any of that. It's a different world, and we've got to think younger and act younger.
True. You got to change with the times. You have to change with the times,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. We have to change with the times. We have to change with the times, go with it, and be done with it. And it's like as much as if there is a flag football in the NFL, I have to put it in my head. It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely going to be a whole lot of crying. I won't lie to you there. But eventually people have to embrace it.
Truthful, James. This is James Tatum's world. It's not ours. We are in James Tatum's world, and we got to live in it, and we got to get successful ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree. But see, we're at the 40-minute mark. Let's go to the next topic here, and this is the rise and fall of Peloton. So, what was your thoughts on this topic right here in creating this one?
Back in the COVID times, back in COVID, we Peloton got enormous. You know who those Pelotons are, right? You know, with the screens, you have one of those screens, and you're pretending that you're doing the Tour de France. You're pretending you're riding in the forest, whatever,
Right.
and you get the software. You had to pay some kind of deal for the software. Blah blah blah. There was that. Well, COVID hit. They and people there were certain people that still wanted to go outside, but there's a lot that just stayed in for 2 years. A
Right.
lot of them stayed in. And look at the whole thing about it. Peloton, they the orders just went through the roof. Completely and utterly went through the roof, ridiculously. And they didn't have the amount. They didn't have the amount of stuff in it. They didn't have the items. They didn't have anything. They didn't have what they thought they were having. It's like, and everybody spent all this money and they weren't able to keep up. Oh, wonderful! This is the most this is the most entertaining show just because of the airplanes.
I know,
But
right?
Peloton didn't have the Peloton did not have the items to keep up. They didn't have any of that. They had the money because they kept bringing it in. But you want to know what they started doing to cut everything? They started literally getting pieces like from a frame and spray painting 2 and 3 layers off rusted frames
Oh.
instead of getting new frames. They started doing that just so they can be able to keep it alive. They can be able to save money. They got caught doing that. Now,
Oh.
they got caught doing that, and now they're going to be taking. They're going to go to Taiwan, and Taiwan's going to be starting to build their stuff instead of the United States, instead of all
Mm.
that stuff, just to save extra money. They're going to go out of business, and it's like this didn't have to happen, but it's like COVID is part of this, but it's also poor business decisions.
It is. I mean, for the very, very
Yeah,
most
but
part, when you got folks that are pretty much confined indoors due to a pandemic, of course, their
yeah.
sales are gonna go up, and then when the world opens up again, they may go back down.
Well, we as a country, and this is the truth, we are the most ADHD level of the world. Hold on
Oh,
again.
absolutely.
Speaking of ADHD, but I have to love being in a.
Oh no, you're
But
absolutely right. As far as the ADHD,
I just
like
love it.
America always is gonna be in love with the shiny new toy. But go ahead.
We, we are the most. Now let me explain it again. We are the most ADHD leveled country in the world, and the fact that these 2 years, it's like, oh my God, it's never going to end. We're going to stop. We're going to stay in forever. Look how many of those news items were saying that. How many columns said it? We're going to be in forever. No one's ever going to want to go out again.
Oh
The
yeah, a
minute
ton.
we opened up, I mean, everybody went out.
Yeah.
But he went out again. It's ADHD, and then people completely forgot that. And then
Hmm.
guess what? In the middle of it, Peloton's in trouble. It's not that they don't get any of that because people were still trying to buy, but they've lost so much money.
Hmm.
Poor business practices, poor everything. This isn't because they did not they were not prepared for the people. They were not prepared for the pandemic. They were not prepared for the whole rush of what they were going to get, and they weren't prepared for people coming back out there again.
Very true. They when the world opened back up, the um and like you said, these was the same people that said like, oh, I'll never go outside again and whatnot and so forth and all this. I mean, it's real crazy what and don't get me wrong, the pandemic was serious. This is a very serious disease, but it's just crazy how and now that you mention it, I believe people were only saying that because they were hearing other folks say it. You see, America is a follow type country, also follow trends. We're gonna follow trends. The trend at the time
Yeah.
period was saying, "Man, I'll never go outside again," or whatever. And then
Yeah.
when everything opens back up, it's like, well, I thought you weren't going back outside. Oh well,
Yeah.
they got this, they got that, and I could have told you that eventually we're going to come out with the vaccine. I could have eventually told you they're going to come out with medication for it. Like they weren't just going to let that shit ride. Like you know what I mean? Like they what what they were doing was, and I don't want to say fear mongering. In fact, they kind of were. It was like fear mongering. You know what I
Or
mean?
they were.
Yeah. I mean, it's a serious disease. Don't get me wrong. But there are some people, corporations included, that jump on it.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
and, and
and you take advantage of the jumping on. This is what fans do. But it's like we were bringing up with fans. Fans do the same thing. You know what I mean? In sports, you jump on the latest thing.
right, right, absolutely. Now Peloton, maybe they were one of them that kind of said, "Hey, you might not go outside for a long, long, real long time, so you may as well invest in our stuff."
Yeah, but the biggest thing about it was the fact that this is what people. It ended because this is a lot of regular, everyday middle class people don't have a real knowledge of money. You don't understand what I mean? They don't have
Mm-hmm.
a real understanding of money, and it's like they think of what money you make. They never think about what money you spend,
True.
and it's like if you're going to get that many things, guess what shipping is going to cost during that time? Oh, and by the way, there was also the supply chain that was going to hell in a handbasket during during all that. I mean, that was costing more. The items were going to cost more. The frames were going to cost more. Painting them was going to cost more. Everything was going to cost more. And then it got to a point. It was getting to a point now where they were doing subscription. They were thinking of doing subscription models for like their videos.
Mm-hmm.
And you frozen up?
Oh no, I'm here.
Okay. But no. But they were doing subscription models just so they can make some extra money. They're always trying to build a little bit of extra money, but it's always for the debt. It's always for the
Yeah,
debt. And it's like one 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 day one day we're gonna look at this in business classes and wonder what happened because it's almost like, and I'm just gonna bring this as a joke. It's like Trump going broke in casinos. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It's like, but you could almost use that in classes to figure out, well, did he go broke in casinos? No, he just over borrowed money too damn much.
over borrowed money. Yeah,
Yeah, he just over borrowed money, and it's just like that's what happened. And it's like, and that's what's happened with Peloton. They made a ton of money, but they're spending a ton of money. And then you have supply chain issues. You can't ship them out on time. People were probably taking them back because they weren't getting them. There's so many. There's so many different aspects to all this.
it is. And just like with any business, when you got more money coming out than going in, of course they're gonna go under. Um, that actually was a perfect example. When the money you coming in, you steady paying debts and paying debts and paying debts. The most that you're gonna accomplish is you're gonna break even.
Say that again. I apologize.
No, I was saying whenever with the money coming in, and all you're doing is paying debts, paying debts, paying debts. The
Yeah,
most you're gonna accomplish is break even.
yeah. I mean, you got to remember that is the biggest. See, that's the biggest thing that the media doesn't do, that classes don't do, school doesn't do, any of those don't do. There's a few, mind you, there's a few classes that still do it right, mind you, but you have to pay heavy for them. But
Right,
they don't bring this up. They keep up what they keep bringing up what did it. How much they made that year, 800, 900 million. They never bring up what they spent.
right, right. Absolutely. Oh,
Never.
for
And
the oh, go ahead.
well, and I just wanted to say, we're going to see this one day, and we're going to see this more and more happen because we still have a supply chain problem. We're going to have it in 5 10.
Right. Yeah. Um. Huh. Well, for the last 10 minutes, we have our final topic, and that is so the ABA players are to finally receive pensions. Now, if I can lead off with this one and then I'll pass on to you, I'll be short. This is
Yeah.
decades overdue,
Yep.
especially considering that the merger happened in 1976. So they should have been grandfathered in with the NBA players. Um, Whenever the merger happened, you also adopted its history. You know what I mean? So anyone that only played for the ABA and retired like pre-merger, they still should have been grandfathered in. But it's overdue. I'm happy for them. And yeah, Jacob, your thoughts
You know something? We talked about this. Remember on the show 3 weeks ago?
on basketball?
We talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't have been prouder of hearing this. It's like I consider how early we are. We can't exactly say our show brought the whole thing up, but we talked. This is the thing that the Pundits Pundit does. We talk about things that a lot of people don't touch. We may
Right,
see it in a column in a newspaper somewhere, but it doesn't get. We brought up something that doesn't matter with that, and I am proud to say that we got a early. Other than maybe a couple of people making columns on it, we got an early shot on it.
right,
We got a shot on a story like this. And what what makes me so proud about all of this is the fact that there aren't going to be players that are going to have to die in vain anymore.
right.
They
That's
had to
true.
die under they had to die under they had to die under a bridge.
Yeah,
They
that's
had to
sad.
die under a bridge. They had to die under a bridge. They had to die homeless. They had to die broke. They had to die if they were in
Homeless.
their own house. They had to do everything, and they had to do that. And it's like we don't have to see that anymore, and that makes me very proud. It's like now, when does the NFL take the charge?
Hmm. As far as prior AFL players,
Well, yeah, because it's not near enough. It's like Mike Ditka once. Well, I don't know if he still has his or not, but Mike Ditka once had to try to be able to pay bills for the. He had a little system where they were trying to pay bills for the people that were broken from the NFL. They try to pay bills, try to get them money each month. They tried to raise money for them.
mm-hmm.
They used to have that, but it's like when does the NFL take charge of this and get them heavier pensions?
Right. I think the average pension now in the NFL is somewhere between 4 and 10 grand. I think it goes according to how long you've been in the league. If I'm not mistaken.
But
And
we're
that's
talking
four
about
to
the
ten grand a
older. I'm
month.
talking about the older ones.
The
I'm
older
talking
ones.
about the older, but there's older generations that are still broken. They're still, and they're still busted up, and they still don't have money.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
The younger retired ones have it. The younger retired ones have it, but there's older ones that are still in trouble.
Yeah, they are. And that's crazy because I thought like all of them did. I thought all of them received it.
There's ones that are still in trouble, and it's like I like to know when is the NFL, and then I want to know about all the other. I want to know what we're going to be doing for the future for all the other athletes, because what the NFL is doing now is it's beautiful to watch. They're trying to protect the players.
They are.
They're trying to protect the players so they never have any of these issues again. But what do you? But here's in the end, they're still going to be hurt when they're 45.
Yeah, that's true. And you know what? Seeing as the NFL is in the mood to protect their players, and that's all good and all, but don't you think you should be just like you would protect them on the field? Shouldn't you be protecting them off the field as well? I mean,
Yeah.
they did, play a sport that they loved for so long, for you, and you should be looking out for them. I mean, you should be affording them like, pension and at least referring them to some decent housing and such, and helping these players stay on their feet. I mean, you got dudes out there with CTE that ain't making a dime.
Well, these players are by themselves. These players hit harder than they ever did in their life. The players
Mhm.
played tougher back then, but they didn't hit like this. They didn't have the same athleticism like this.
Oh
It's
yeah,
gonna they're gonna be busted apart even more in the next few years. And I want to see, just like we're seeing the ABA, but those ABA was like 1976. Guess where this is now? This is near 50 years.
yeah,
This was overdue like this. But it's like, do we have to keep doing shows like this? I'm not saying our show made a humongous difference. It's so early to say that in our career, our lifetime. I'm not
right.
saying that. But do we have to make shows like this to do it, or does this become common sense? Does some of this become common sense to be able to help people?
You would think that it would be common sense, but man, let's face it. This is a nation that only acts when they're reacting. You know, maybe they're looking when they're looking at their name getting dragged through their mud. You hear about those companies that finally do something and they're trying to save face. The NFL's done it a ton of times. How many times have we seen that? You know.
Yeah,
Now with that being said, I'd because nothing's going on in the NBA that's really that controversial. This may be just Adam Silver or whoever that was like, you know what? Hey, let's go ahead and give these guys these pensions, and great on them, because I've said on previous telecasts, of the four professional major sports, seemingly the one that gets it last is the NFL. It's always the NBA leading the
yeah,
charge, you know.
yeah, yeah. And it's like, well, see, look what the NBA did. You remember 1991, Magic retired, 92, Bird retired, 93, Jordan.
Mm,
Look, look at what they did. It's like, even though they struggled for a couple of years, they didn't complain. They always aimed. Remember, they changed their whole league up
they
once
did.
all that kind of stuff. I mean, remember the minute Shaq came in, you got a 7'2", 7'1", 315-pound guy dropping up in the court. He's going up the court in fast breaks. The bigger guy starting to shoot even more. It was completely a change. The NBA didn't complain. They didn't cry. It's like, yeah, they knew they were going to struggle, so they changed everything up.
Yeah.
They
They,
changed everything up, and you're right. The NFL is always behind. In truth, the NHL was first.
hmm.
The NHL was first in changing things, because you got to remember that was once a completely star-driven Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux one-on-one league.
Chris Chelios, yeah, all of them.
Now it is. I mean, if they might have 100 points, they might get 50 goals, but it's a miracle. And if it's a miracle, I mean, we're talking about Ovechkin now that might be busting up on records. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be busting
Right.
up, and he had the possibility of going after Wayne Gretzky for the goals record. But
Mm-hmm.
guess what? We're finding this as a miracle, considering how much of a more spread league and more of a teammate league that it is. It's more of a teammate movement league. This is not a one-on-one and not a big old all-star game like it used to be.
Right. You know,
The NHL, see, but the NHL went out in front on that in the first place.
yeah. But it's funny how that's so much of a contrast from the NFL where they say it's a quarterback driven league, and then the NBA where they say it's a superstar driven league. You know?
Yeah, yeah. What do we? But what do we do? But the biggest thing about it is that's where we're talking about the NFL, that they're reacting. But this is what we talked about from our last segment. Does the NFL try to go flag in the next 25 years, especially with more people being born in an era where it's a softer league, if you will?
True. Yeah, that is true.
But
Well,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna wrap up. We're in the final minute, but go ahead, man.
Well, you know something? I wanted to thank everybody who stuck with this tonight. It's like had a weird buzz, with the Wi-Fi, and I had to do everything. So I had to go deal with the airplanes and do all that stuff. But I appreciated this night tonight, and I think we had some good topics right here.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks everybody for their patience. Shout out to Dave for being in the comments. Most definitely, we will keep you in mind about bringing you on as a guest. While you were coming back on, or trying to come back on, Jacob, he's a Bills fan, so I actually would like to have him come on and talk about the '90s Bills that went to 4 straight.
Hello, what'd you say?
I said that we were going to see about having him come on to talk about the '90s Bills
Yeah.
that went to 4 straight Super Bowls.
Oh
And
yeah,
just
oh
kind of
yeah,
thoughts on that, yeah.
absolutely. And let's start bringing our new people on. Let's start bringing our new people on this thing, and let's start promoting them, because we really have something big going on with Sideline Sports, and we promote everything.
Absolutely, but hey, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. We're at the 1 hour mark, and once again, I'm going to show you the list of awesome shows that we have across the board, and we are adding new ones as well. So we got content 7 days a week, y'all. I mean, we're everywhere. So Sideline Sports, the new wave for Jacob Christner. Shout out to Jennifer Matthews Lewis. You're in our thoughts, and myself, Denzel Snipes.
Yep.
This is the Pundits Pundit. Good night, everybody. See you next Thursday.
Take care.